Did you kill your daughter?
No.
Imagine waking up to the news that your 3-year-old daughter has vanished from a holiday apartment, and then, almost a month later, spotting your husband calmly hauling a broken refrigerator to the dump. It sounds impossible, and yet that's exactly what happened in Praia da Luz, Portugal, in 2007. Why would Jerry McCann, a father desperate to find his missing child, concern himself with discarding a piece of old kitchen equipment? Tonight, we'll explore how that inexplicable act, left untouched by investigators for weeks, became the central clue in a new theory that may finally explain what happened to little Madeleine. But before we begin, hit subscribe and ring the bell so you don't miss any updates, and drop your own thoughts and prayers for Madeleine in the comments below. Madeleine disappeared on the evening of May 3rd, 2007, from apartment 5A at the Ocean Club Resort, where her parents and their friends had gone to dinner just steps away. Their routine was simple: leave the children asleep in the unlocked apartment, slip away for periodic checks, and return before bedtime. At 6:40 p.m., a family friend saw Madeleine playing by the sofa. By 8:30 p.m., her parents were dining with the group known as the Top of Seven. When Kate McCann carried out the last check before dessert, Madeleine was gone. Panic spread to the resort. Beaches were scoured. Volunteers combed scrublands. But for 24 days, no trace of her was found. Then came the revelation about the rented Renault Scenic. On May 27th, 24 days later, 2 UK-trained cadaver dogs, Eddie and Keela, alerted in the car's boot to the unmistakable stench of human decomposition, cadaverine. When forensic teams swabbed the upholstery, DNA analysis returned an 88% match to Madeleine's genetic profile. In Portugal's blistering May heat, often over 40 degrees Celsius, a body left exposed would be so skeletal after days that only bones would remain. Yet the scent persisted and the genetic material lingered. How could that be? The answer, investigators realized, lay in refrigeration. Biological processes that drive decomposition, bacterial growth and enzyme activity, are dramatically slowed by cold. A refrigerator, even a modest one, can pause those processes long enough to delay decay. But where had that refrigeration occurred? The McCann's villa fridges were too small to accommodate a child's remains. Yet a photograph and local testimony revealed that, days before the Renault's discovery, Jerry McCann had loaded a broken fridge onto a pickup and driven it to the municipal dump. Villagers remembered the scene. Calm, methodical, devoid of panic. That image sparked what became known as the refrigerator theory. Forensic microbiologists later swabbed the abandoned appliances shelves, door seals, and drip trays. Using next-generation sequencing, they detected compounds associated with adipose sear formation, the first stage of tissue breakdown in cold conditions. Even the fridge's internal digital thermometer, recovered and analyzed, showed an anomalous door-open event lasting nearly 20 minutes, corresponding exactly to the time frame when Madeleine's body would have required refrigeration to remain intact. Meanwhile, detectives re-examined the timeline of Madeleine's disappearance, zeroing in on a 6-hour period from about 2 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. on May 3rd. During those hours, neither Madeleine nor her mother could be independently placed outside the apartment. Friends who formed the Top of Seven broke a 4-month silence to assert Kate's presence at all times, but restaurant staff and partial CCTV footage, though never publicly released, suggested she appeared at the bar alone at points that conflicted with the group's account. Jerry's tennis court alibi covered only part of the window, leaving Kate unaccounted for when a tragedy could have occurred. In the midst of these revelations, digital forensics uncovered that a blog post Jerry McCann had written, recounting his trip to dump the fridge, was deleted once he was named a formal suspect, arguido, by Portuguese police. No archive remained. No cache copy could be found, and online sleuths were left only with second-hand accounts. This trace suppression only deepened the mystery. Why erase an innocuous story about disposing of a broken appliance? The disappearance of that post fed the sense that something deeper was being hidden. Forensic dogs and DNA weren't the only pieces of the puzzle. Relatives stepped forward with their own explanations for the Renault's odor. Alexander Cameron, Jerry's brother-in-law, blamed a spilled bag of raw meat, shrimp, fish, beef, for a strong stench and described meticulously removing and washing the boot carpet. Kate's cousin, Michael Wright, pointed instead to discarded diapers. Yet cadaverine is not seafood spoilage, nor is it diaper rash. Trained to detect human decomposition, Eddie and Keela never confuse a fish market for a crime scene. Their repeated alerts in the car's trunk pointed only one way. A human body had been stored there. Investigators then mapped out potential storage locations. Villa 5's fridge was too small. Nearby rentals and storage units became subjects of covert searches. A former maintenance worker recalled an unscheduled service call to repair a freezer hinge in a neighbor's villa. Dump attendants mentioned seeing a small compartment removed from the refrigerator before disposal. Each unconfirmed lead, an unrecorded freezer repair, a carted-off fridge component, hinted at clandestine cold storage that permitted Madeleine's remains to survive long enough for that May 27 transport. Legal teams prepared for courtroom battles. The defense attacked chain of custody, pointing out the 16-year gap, possible contamination, and the fact that the original fridge no longer existed for re-examination. Prosecutors responded with tamper evidence seals, continuous temperature-controlled transport logs, and video documentation of the fridge's retrieval. Electrical engineering experts stood ready to explain the digital anomalies, microbiologists to validate the adipose serum precursors, anthropologists to interpret the cadaverine persistence. Each fact was poised for intense scrutiny, the admissibility of every swab, and every log hanging in the balance. Beyond science and law, human behavior added another layer. Behavioral analysts noted Jerry's daily blog updates, calm, collected, offering no hint of unfiltered panic, like a PR campaign more than a father's grief, suggesting narrative control and emotional distancing. Kate's composed media appearances, orchestrated by ex-BBC spokesperson Clarence Mitchell, reflected meticulous persona management. The deleted fridge posts emerged as a textbook case of emotional trait suppression, erase what might undermine the carefully constructed image. Online, social media erupted. Hashtags like hashtag fridge in the dump and hashtag 24 days mystery trended as amateurs dissected timelines, satellite imagery, and cafe gossip. Some viewers championed the McCann's, seeing desperate parents besieged by cruel speculation. Others condemned them as perpetrators of a cold, calculated cover-up. Parenting forums argued whether periodic unlocked door checks constituted neglect, fueling debates about duty and danger. Each new theory reignited the case, ensuring that public attention never faded. Today, questions remain. Will genetic databases yield a match to the fridge or car DNA? Could a recovered fragment of freezer wiring reveal the exact temperature curve needed to preserve human tissue? Will unreleased CCTV footage finally pinpoint Kate's movements during the 6-hour gap? As forensic science advances, environmental DNA analysis, AI-driven pattern recognition, ultra-sensitive gas chromatography, the potential to unlock new truths from old evidence grows stronger. What we know is this: a broken refrigerator in a dump and a rented car's tainted boot stand as cold, unyielding facts. They challenge the official narrative of abduction, suggesting instead that if Madeleine McCann died, her body was locked in cold, moved in secret, and buried beneath layers of silence. In the sweltering heat of that Portuguese May, refrigeration may have been the only way to keep decay at bay, until science and determination began to thaw its chilling hold on the truth. If this deep dive has given you new insight, be sure to subscribe. Share your theories below, and join us as we continue to chase every cold clue in the Madeleine McCann case. Every detail matters, and one day, the frozen truth may finally see the light.